over the weekend, we had the inaugural Polynesian Bowl, which took place in Hawaii. Lot of names that we recognize from the 2017 class participated in this event. It was at Aloha Stadium. Good football, really good football overall. And we had a chance to to see a couple of guys who we've seen at other bowl games. We saw AJ Epineza, we saw Josh Fallow, we saw Dylan McCaffrey. He's headed to Michigan. Epineza is headed to Iowa. Chuck Filiaga was there. He's also headed to Michigan. You look at this bowl, Tyler, and it's the first year, and there's a lot of buzz, and it wasn't just because it was at Aloha Stadium, wasn't just because it was at Hawaii. Granted, that's a major perk, obviously, but you hear the buzz about this, man. And what are some of the things that you were hearing, post event? Because obviously this could be something. This bowl could be something that we could really be paying attention to in the next 10 or 15 years, and it can be a really, really big deal. Just if you add all of the pieces together, I mean, this could really be something that these recruits are really hoping to land an invitation to.
Yeah, Damon. I mean, look, I grew up in Florida for a lot of my childhood. No offense to Orlando, and you're from Texas. No offense to San Antonio. We're talking about Hawaii, man. We're talking about Hawaii in January when half the country, including my half, is getting buried in ice. So first and foremost, that's a built-in appeal with this game. It takes place in Aloha Stadium. Obviously, we recognize that from the NFL Pro Bowl and Hawaii's impressive years that they've had at different points in college football. But for me, I mean, I think the biggest thing for them is with the timing of this, you're not going to be able to involve the early enrollee guys. We know that Tua Tagovailoa was a part of this process, and obviously he will I'm sure he would attest and vouch for this bowl up and down until he was blue in the face, but he had to be on campus. He's already signed his papers, so he couldn't compete. But I think for a lot of the guys who aren't necessarily enrolling early, this is a great opportunity, in my opinion, for them to jump on a plane, go somewhere they might not get again until years later in life, and just kind of have a last hurrah for their high school careers, because they are, 2 weeks away when this game is being played. They're all going to be signed up, and they're going to have to just prepare for that next phase. And if you tell me, as a top player, I can get on a plane and compete, that's great. And certainly if you're Polynesian, there's a different draw to this game. It's a matter of pride. I believe an estimated 75% of participants in this bowl were of Polynesian descent, including, like you mentioned, AJ Epinesa, probably the top-ranked guy of that group. So for me, I think I love it. For an American kid who really isn't part of that heritage or doesn't really have a firm understanding of it, you're going to expand your horizons while getting another quality lesson in how to get better at football. So I think it's a really nice combination. I'm curious to see where it goes. I know they already have announced 2018 plans and early commitments to that game. So clearly it's full steam ahead.
Absolutely. And I had a chance to speak with Connor Weddington, athlete Connor Weddington, who was at the bowl, and he had the time of his life there. Had a really, really good time. He also mentioned that the bowl was a chance to allow him to kind of just rest his mind from this buzzsaw called the recruiting process. And I mean, it happened right in the middle of where some of these programs were hoping that these athletes would take official visits. This is I think that, to me, is going to be the most intriguing question in the next 4 or 5 years. Will the bowl stay at this the same time frame? Because you're taking away, for one of these athletes, for many of these athletes, you're taking away an official visit weekend, but at the same time, you're giving these guys an opportunity to play and see the Hawaiian culture and be a part of the Hawaiian culture at a time where a lot of these guys won't get that chance to make that happen anyway. So, me personally, I'm a fan of it. Connor was a fan of it. I like the bowl. I like the idea of the bowl. All of the athletes learned the haka, and they didn't just learn the actual dance. They actually learned, the ins and outs. They learned the cultural background of it. And I think, this is something that can really be used as a learning experience for these guys. And obviously there was bonding there, but that's with any bowl game. But there's just something different about this one, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Is that the Polynesian culture, a very proud culture, one that, when we talk, a lot of Americans, don't really know. They see it, but they don't know. So when we talk about some of these American kids playing in this bowl, they really had a chance to experience that lifestyle, experience that culture, and I think they really learned something out of it.
Yeah.
Now. Oh, go ahead.
And Damon, we went right to Dylan McCaffrey as one of the headliners, heading off the mainland, going to compete that, and that's because he's a quarterback. And to me, that ties into the fact that right now, for the Polynesian football community, there is a great chance for an explosion in the sport of football. You look at quarterback being the most recognizable spot on the field, maybe all of sports. Tua Tagovailoa, Elite 11 MVP. If you follow college recruiting, you already know about this kid. If he does what we think he might be able to do at Alabama during the next 3-4 years, at a school like that, at the epicenter of college football, essentially, he is going to be a national superstar. People who don't follow recruiting don't really know him yet, but they will be well aware, become a household name if he does what he's capable of with the Crimson Tide. Throw in the fact you've got Marcus Mariota, the number 2 overall pick a couple years ago in the NFL draft. He had a breakout season as a sophomore with the Tennessee Titans. So moving forward in his career, 2 Polynesian quarterbacks who were both involved with this bowl game. I think it's just a huge launch pad right now, and we're going to see more of these guys end up at events like the opening and in all-star tournaments, but they're also now going to come and bring guys from the mainland to get to Hawaii, and that will only enhance the whole process, and it certainly is an exciting future for them. And if you're a Polynesian player, I think there's probably more opportunities than ever before in terms of football networking.
Now, this is also an opportunity for a few athletes to announce their verbal commitments, and Oregon ultimately landed 2 commitments. USC had a commitment. Oregon State, BYU. You look at this game, Tyler, and now the question now is, instead of announcing at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, instead of announcing at the Under Armour All-America Bowl, you now get an extra couple of weeks to sit and think about the process, and then you can announce in Hawaii. You can announce at the Polynesian Bowl. What do you think a bowl game like this, particularly with its time frame and when it takes place, what do you think a bowl game like this does for a recruit in regards to making that verbal commitment? Do you think this could be something that really helps some of these college programs in that aspect, or what?
Yeah, I think maybe this is one of those days you start to circle on your calendar in the recruiting cycle and you say, buckle up, there's going to be some action. Because we already do that for the Under Armour All-America game. We do it for the U.S. Army All-America Bowl. And we come to expect those days to be filled with key commitments and kind of the closure of long-term recruitments. And now fast forward a couple of weeks, we've already seen Jameer Calvin in the U.S. Army Bowl. He committed to Oregon State. He decommitted from Oregon State since then. So maybe he wasn't ready, and maybe this does give you a chance. If you want to do it at an event, this buys you some time, certainly. So I do believe, Pac-12 programs got the benefit this year, and I think that'll probably be continue based on regional reasons. That'll probably be the reason Pac-12 fans will always want to make this an event to focus on when their teams are looking to pick up key players right down the stretch. But as things progress, and we mentioned, you've got guys like Nico Collins, he's from SEC territory. You've got Dylan McCaffrey from Colorado going to a Big Ten team. They were out there. They were representing. Word of mouth is a big deal. So if things were positive for them, I think you can expect more. And maybe you do get a late 5-star committing, and that will certainly draw viewers' attention. And really, that's half the reason why people watch us. They want to get a glimpse of the future, but they also also want to see what hat this kid's putting on. So the more eyeballs on one game, the better, obviously, for them to be moving forward and really trying to build up the process.
No doubt, no doubt. This was the first year, Tyler, and I thought the Polynesian Bowl did an outstanding job overall. Year one's out the way, which means year two is going to be even bigger, even better. And just think, in 5 years, this could be one of the quintessential bowls, one of the elite bowls, and not only landing some of the best talent in the country, but also being that voice for the athlete as they make their verbal commitment. So, and
maybe we can do the show live from Hawaii. I mean, I'm on board for that one.
There it is, VSPORTO. I hope you're listening to that. Make that happen for us. Okay, we should probably just quit while we're ahead. We should just stop right now.